Here we're going to tie the Barr's micro emerger. First thing we're going to do is just get some red thread started on the hook. I'm going to tie a red one here. This is also tied in black. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brown Hackle feather. I'm going to strip off a few fibers, and it doesn't really matter if the fibers are even on this fly. You're going to want to strip off about 10 fibers or so. We're going to tie those in right on top of the shank of the hook. Then what we're going to do is we're going to trim the tail. The tail I like to be about the length of the shank of the hook. This fly you trim the tail blunt, just like so. Now the next thing to do is build up a little bit of a tapered body. So all I'm going to do is just wrap my thread nice and smooth. Build up a little bit of a taper. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to take my thread forward to the thorax area, and I'm actually going to switch colors. I'm going to switch to a black thread, so I'm just going to basically tie in that black thread and wrap over the red. Then I can trim out the excess. Now I'm going to tie in the legs. For this I'm just going to use some dun colored Hackle fibers. I'm going to strip off about 10 or so, about the same amount as the tail. I'm going to tie these in right on top of the shank of the hook. And I want my thorax to be about the third of the length of the entire fly. I'm just going to let those Hackle fibers hang off the back for now. Now the next thing to do is to tie in the thorax. For this I'm going to use some gray Superfine dubbing. I'm just going to put it on the thread fairly sparse. And just coat the thread with a little bit of the dubbing. I'm going to build up a little bit of a thorax. Trying to make it fairly round. Want a nice bulbous thorax, nice and round. Add a little more dubbing here to finish it off. There we go. And I'm going to take my thread right up to the front of the fly here. I'm going to take those Hackle fibers, I'm going to pull them right over the top of the fly. And I'm going to split those Hackle fibers in half. Pull half of them to one side, and then half to the other side. And then I can whip finish. Then I'm going to trim my legs. I'm going to trim these legs so they're just a little bit longer than the thorax. There we go. And that's all there is to the micro emerger, the Barr's micro emerger. I think here I tied like an 18, but it can be tied much smaller, down into the 22, 24 range. It's made to be tied really tiny, and that's all there is to the Barr's micro emerger. And last thing you'd want to do is you of course want to glue the body of this fly. You can use Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails, or you can use Zap-A-Gap or some cement. Just want to hit that thread body there so it doesn't fall apart on you. And you can buy all the materials for this fly at intheriffle.com.